It's time for me to give you the cheat code on how to make it through Meps 2020 October in a pandemic. Let's go. Let's tap it.
You know my squad. You know my squad. I said now ain't nobody messing with my squad. You know my squad. You know my squad.
Scribe Squad, before I go ahead and tap into it, I need you to do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell button, because you can ring my bell, ring it, that we know every single time, literally every single time I drop a new video, vlog, reaction, music video, whatever. Just hit that like button, sub button, bell button. In addition to that, please continue to donate to the channel. CashApp, Venmo at TheRealScribe, PayPal, TheRealScribeCash at gmail.com. Also, be sure to join my Patreon, because I'm about to put a lot of exclusive content on it. Videos that YouTube blocked, vlogs, and just a whole lot of dope stuff for the Scribe Squad is going to be on the Patreon. So check out patreon.com/ScribeCash. Now, with all that being said, about a few weeks back, I made a video. If you haven't already, checked out that video, be sure to do so. It was about me considering joining the military, right? Well, I came to my decision that I want to join the Coast Guard Reserves, right? Because I was contemplating Coast Guard, Air Force, yada yada yada, right? There's a specific position that I want to get. It's public affairs, and so I'm being put for that now to see if I'm gonna get it. Cross your fingers, send some prayers up. Whoop, send me some good luck to see if I get that position. That's the one I want. And second to that is human resources. Now, anyway, with all that being said, now, if you're watching this video, you're probably, either ex-military, present military, or future military, most likely, or you're just interested in the military, and you know about Meps. So this is just the next phase in your journey to join the military, right? So Meps, if you don't know, I'm going to get the exact thing, stands for Military Entrance Processing Station. So this is after you've gone through the initial questions and stuff. You've already met with your recruiter. Now they're trying to get you in the process of joining the military, and this is just the next stage. So I'm going to share with you my journey from start to finish, how I made it through it. And by made it through it, I really mean made it through it, because it wasn't extremely hard, but it wasn't easy as well. And so I'm out here in California. Keep that in mind. You guys' experience around the state may be a little different, but overall the processes when you get there are the same. They test you for the same thing. It's universal. Okay, so for me, for Meps, they have me stay the night before, check in at a hotel, and then Meps is the next day. So my check-in time, and it was at an LA hotel. I'll keep the location undisclosed. It was an LA hotel. My check-in time was 8. That I had to be there by 8 o'clock. So I got there around 7. Found parking. I'm gonna tell you about all the hiccups too. Like, this is gonna be a good story. Everything, every detail that I could possibly remember. I got there around 7. And I went to the check-in spot. Now, the check-in spot is actually not through the hotel. It's actually run by a separate company. Like the process of who runs it's a separate organization. I think it's called like the Freedom Organization, something close to that, right? You can Google it. So they have their own floor where you go and check in. So you go to that floor, you check in. I think because that it's a pandemic, they don't have you have roommates with anybody else. I think that's just part of them trying to make sure everybody is safe. So you get there, you check in, they check your temperature. You sign in what branch you're trying to do, yada, yada, yada. You get your room key. I drove because I'm from California, but there's a lot of people who fly in from all over the place, and so they're taking the bus. Because I drove, I had to fill out a special form. Because I was following the bus there, right? We'll get to that later. There's a whole other side of the story with that as well. And so then I get my room key and I get assigned to my particular room. And then they tell me that dinner is at 8:20 Or no, sorry, brief was at 8:20. Dinner was going to be served at 8:40. Now, mind you, I ate before because I'm be honest, you know, you don't know what type of food you're gonna get. So I suggest that you eat before you get there. If it's applicable, like if you're able to pull it off, let's say you're coming from home, eat your dinner before. I took my shower before because I never been in this hotel, so I don't know how clean it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So I was already pretty much ready for bed, right? Also, big tip, pack light. The less stuff, the better because you're gonna be moving around. Um, Especially if you don't like if you're not driving or whatever. I was able to put my stuff in the car and stuff before I started the Meps the next day and all that, so that was cool. But if you're just going, pack light as possible. The necessities, only the necessities. All right. Things to bring: ID, social security card. That's something you're gonna need throughout the entire process. So just have that ID, social security card, right? And so here we are. We go down to the hotel. Now, mind you, everybody has to wear masks too. It's pandemic, so everybody has on masks throughout all these interactions, right? It's only 4 allowed in the elevator at a time. Some people tried to break that rule, right? But follow the rules. Go down to the brief, and then you see how many people are there, right? Because you're checking in at random times, so you don't know how many people are there. It's at least, I'm gonna say it was at least 100. It might have been 150 people there. And so what I found out at the hotel, it was also people there to ship out the next day. It wasn't just people who were going to Meps, which I thought was kind of cool. So during the brief, I played this whole video about, you know, policies, yada yada yada. Most of it is common sense, like i.e. don't have anybody in your room, clock out time is 10 o'clock, or lights out time is 10 o'clock. And then they drop the bomb on you. Wake up time the next day, they're like, it's 3 o'clock. And so they give you a wake up call at 3, and then 3:15 is going to be your 2 wake up calls. You're supposed to be down at the brief, right, at 3:30. So I heard that, and I was like, okay, so I thought it was going to be like 5. I knew it was going to be early, but I thought it was going to be like 5. No, it's 3. It's 3 o'clock. And so if you're not used to that, you're not used to the military lifestyle, that's a little bit of a transition immediately. They're throwing you in it. So what I did is, because I already ate, I didn't go to pick up my little dinner box. I decided to just go up to my room, take out my stuff for tomorrow, right? Here's where the first hiccup happened for me, because they also tell you the night before to validate your parking. And the problem is I had lost my parking ticket already. I didn't know where it went. Like, how do you lose your parking ticket that fast, right? So I had to problem solve this, right, in the morning. Anyway, I'll tell you how I did it the next day. So look, I go to my room and I'm like, all right, let me take out my clothes and stuff for tomorrow. As I take out my clothes for tomorrow, my mouthwash had poured all over my jeans, my outfit. I was like, great. So now I had to pretty much invent like a hanger and hang my clothes up to dry the night before. And then by the time you get back in your room, it's already 9 o'clock, right? So I'm like, I'm about to just try to wind down. Now, mind you, knowing me, I go to bed hella late, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, because as you know, I'll be doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I was like, I need to just try to entice myself to go to sleep early, right? So that way I can wake up at 3, say goodnight to all my loved ones, make sure they knew I made it and I was safe. Oh, I talked to my recruiter too the night before, and she was just telling me kind of what the day was going to bring, right? But I'll tell you what the day actually brought. And then I was like, I'm finna go to sleep. So I try to go to sleep, right? I end up falling asleep probably around 11. I had to put my meditation music on. I had to put the rain music on. I had to do a whole thing so I could go to sleep early, right? And I ain't even waking up, because then I'm low-key anticipating waking up so early. I'm like, I don't want to oversleep. I set my alarm. I set 3-4 alarms. I ended up waking up at 1. And then I turned around and I forced myself to go back to sleep. And then I slept till 3. Wake up at 3 a.m. I'm like, whoo, that thing hit. It hit hard because it was dark. It was dark. Obviously, the sun is not up, right? So I wake up at 3 a.m. And then I'm like, okay, let me just, because I had my stuff out. Luckily, my pants and everything had dried. So it dried. It smelled like mouthwash, though. Good thing I had a good flavor of mouthwash. It was mint. So I smelled like mint all day. Put that on. And I pack up my stuff, which wasn't a lot of stuff. I had brought my laptop and stuff because I had a homework assignment. And I was like, okay, great. Let me go to the car, right? Let me do that. Let me talk to the people at the lobby, see if I can figure out a parking ticket. They're like, well, you need to talk to people at Meps. So we don't know how to help you with that. Blah, 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 blah. You need a ticket to get out. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, all right, let me figure this out. So I wait for a car to go back through the thing, and then I press the button to get the ticket right after the car because it had to be weighted or whatever. So then I got the ticket. And so I get the ticket. I put myself in the car. I come back. So mind you, I make it all the way back there before 3:30. When you get there at 3:30, you turn in your room key because it's the last day or whatever. So you turn in your room key, and then they have you check in to get your little breakfast box. So breakfast that morning was bacon, eggs, potatoes, and like this little power bar. I don't eat eggs. I don't eat bacon. So the other thing I would suggest, had I known, you know what I'm saying, that was going to be breakfast. If you're a picky eater like me, then I would suggest you pack something or whatever for your breakfast the next morning. Because when I tell you you're going to need that energy, you are going to need that energy. Big dog. You're really going to need that energy because it's going to be a long day. And you're starting off at 3 o'clock in the morning. So if I could do it all over again, I would have packed like an additional like power bar or something. Or like a snack. Or like I like peaches. So maybe like a fruit cup and like something. But I ate the potatoes, right? I put ketchup on them things. I sauced it up real good. I ate the potatoes. They had like this whole grain bar or whatever. I grabbed that. I ate. Then I threw away my breakfast. Then you sit there for another brief. There's a lot of briefs throughout the day. That's another thing. They brief you on what's about to take place next. You know, how they're going to organize you, blah, 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 what you need, right? Then they're like, oh, if you don't have this form, you need to have this form. I had put my stuff in the car thinking that I was pretty much straight. So I had to go all the way back to the car, get my form, then come all the way back and make it there before it was time to process out and go to the next station, right? First people they process out are the people who are shipping off. Everybody claps and like, it's a celebratory moment. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Woo them. They go ahead, they check out, they walk out. The next people who get to check out is the people like me who are driving behind the bus. They take us, they have nurses there that check your temperature. Then it's literally called, so we don't get flagged, I'll call it your pandemic papers. And so they check, you know, like when's the last time, like how long was your quarantine, blah, 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 blah. Check all that stuff, make sure you're good to go, sign off, then you're able to go to your car. Get in your car, right? Then for me, I had to go through because I figured out my ticket situation. I went through, I still got my parking validated, didn't have to pay for parking. Woo. And then you park behind the bus. There's like, I think it was a total of 29 cars or something that was driving there. The rest of the people were, so out of 150 people, it was only 21, 9 of us, we were like actually there. The rest of the people were taking the buses there, right? So then, mind you, they should have gave us the address. They didn't give us the address, which I just like, okay, so what if we get lost? What if somebody can't drive? We're following behind a person that can't drive. Like, I didn't like that aspect of it. So I would say another tip, get the address. Boom. Just in case. So you don't have to worry about these people. So we're driving behind the bus, right? So mind you, by the time we take off, it's probably like 4:15. It's still early as hell as far as I'm concerned. It's about a 10-minute drive because it's kind of slow from the hotel to where Meps is at, right? We get there. We were able to park, you know what I'm saying? We get out. And then they have us line up. By the time we get there, it's closer to 5. So like 4:45. We're outside the building. They have us line up in these lines. They put us in 2 groups. They're like people who are here for full physical, and the testing, full physical, you're in one group, and then another people who are just here for specific things like testing, etc. is in another group, right? I thought that Meps was just something you do once. I learned now that there are people who have to do Meps multiple times, okay? Which is why you need to pay attention to this video. So, they line you up, and then you're waiting out there. You're literally standing. It's cold. Mind you, you're not supposed to have a jacket on or anything by that time. They're like, you know, because you're going to have to take stuff on and off or whatever. So they're like, so I had a long sleeve shirt. I was smart. It was cold in the morning, standing. Okay. Then they have you go through the metal detector, right? So, because doors open, they open the doors for us at about 5:15-ish, I'll say. And they give you a whole procedure. Okay, okay, yeah, I forgot about this part. They have you empty your pockets out. Nothing can be in your pockets. Take all your jewelry off. I had already removed my nose ring, my earrings, my rings. Mind you, I had to put this stuff back on. This was yesterday. And I was like good to go on that end, right? Don't wear boots, because if you wear boots, you gotta take off. And I had boots on, so I had to take off my boots to walk through the metal detector, because apparently the metal detector trips off the boots, right? Make it through the metal detector. Then next, you go to another brief. At the brief, you get this name tag, right? And this name tag kind of tells you what it is you're there for. Like, it'll say physical, and then ASVAB, PCAT, blah, 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 blah. Like, and that'll be on the name tag. They separate. So this is how I knew how many people were there for Coast Guard. It wasn't a lot of people. They separate your name tags by what branch. Also, if you didn't know, Meps is inclusive of all the branches. So that's Coast Guard, Army, Marines, Navy, National Guard. All have the same Meps process. So it was only like 3 or 4 of the coasties. And I think I was the only girl coastie there. So, yay. Right? But I'm thinking like, okay, cool. It's going to be good. Right? It's not a lot of people. So lines and stuff should be short. Lies. You still gotta go through the same lies as everybody else. The only difference it makes at the end is your liaison experience, right? So in their first brief, they go over everything that's supposed to take place. They give you breakdowns about, sexual harassment will not be tolerated. What else do they talk about? Have your ID, social security card, proper undergarments, right? I'll go through all that stuff later. But then they give us a reminder, right? Now, mind you, my recruiter told me this, and I totally spaced. It was like no nail polish. I didn't have any nail polish on my nails, but I forgot I had my toenail polish on. So I'm like, all right, first problem. And they're like, if you have that on, you're not going to be able to do medical. I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not coming back, bro. I got to figure this out. So the guy was like, okay, well, if you have nail polish, just tell us, and we have nail polish. Somebody's going to have nail polish remover. I'm like, okay, great. So we break for the brief. And instead of me getting in the line to like go upstairs and start all the processes, I'm like, I got to go to my liaison. So I go to my liaison. I'm like, hey, I forgot my toenail polish on. Do you guys have nail polish remover? He was like, yes. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get the stuff for the nail polish remover. I go in the girls' bathroom to to try to take it off. I'm in there for like 15 minutes, bro. Does not come off. I mean, I'm putting it on. I'm scrubbing. So mind you, I just had to have the really good gel on my toes this time around. Just had to, right? Just had to have it. And I'm scrubbing. I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to come back. I do not want to come back. Like, I'm like, I literally take my keys and I try to scratch. Nothing is moving, right? So I go back. I'm like, hey, do you guys have like a nail file or whatever? It's just not coming off. Like, I'm really trying everything. I just need a flat surface. He's like, no, let me see. I'm like, it's coming off a little. Mind you, it was coming off a little, but I was like, it just wasn't strong enough to take it off. And I was like, it's just not strong enough to take it off. He's like, I might have something like stronger, whatever. So he goes into this other thing. He has a stronger nail polish remover. I'm like, okay, we're gonna try this. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, so I'm in there for probably about 30 minutes. So this is like 45 minutes gone out of my day off top. He was like, look, you got to get it removed. Like, you have a bunch of time to finish everything, so don't worry about that. Just get the nail polish removed, like, and then go from there. So I'm in there like 30 minutes just applying, more and more nail polish remover, and I'm using my keys and I start scraping it off, like literally just scraping off, and it starts to come off. And then I got to apply more and then scraping it off. It was a whole freaking process. It was a whole process. I was sitting on the floor. I was like, F it. I got to get this done, right? Woo! Crisis avoided. I get it all off my feet. I'm like, yes, I can continue on with my day. Go back to them. They're like, okay, cool. We're going to send you upstairs. We're going to check you in and have you go upstairs. They check me in, go upstairs, and I get in the line for testing, right? And so I had already taken my PICAT. And some people were there to take the full ASVAB. Other people were there to take the PICAT and verify. I was just there to take the PICAT and verify my score, right? For the testing portion. get in line for testing, finally get you in. The only thing you got in there is scratch paper and a pencil. I'm sure if you, that's like, we make a whole separate video about that, PyCat, ASVAB, whatever. So I'm there to verify my score. They give you a bunch of random questions, right? And then sometimes you get rolled over to more questions. So unfortunately, I got rolled over to more questions. So I was about 30 to 45 minutes doing that, right? I forgot what my original score was. So the lady was like, okay, I passed my PyCat. We're going to get you ready to send you to medical. So by the time that I'm about to go over to medical, it's like 9:30. So mind you, I've already been there from like 5:30, 6 o'clock into that time. And I'm like already low-key kind of tired. I'm mentally tired because I had to do this test. I had a whole crisis on my toes that I had to figure out. Like, woo, I'm tired at this point. But it's still a whole nother day. So by the time I get inside medical, it's like 10 o'clock. First thing they do is they check your blood pressure, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, the line's moving kind of quick. Cool, right? Then, now mind you, you get a bunch of stickers, a bunch of forms. Then you go over, I got audio next. And after audio, they set me in the line to do vision, right? And it wasn't moving. Like, I literally sat there for 30 minutes. Because we sat there for 30 minutes, this chick came over and was like, oh, who hasn't been briefed for medical yet? I'm like, we got another brief? Yeah, we got another brief. Okay, so then we do our medical brief. During the medical brief, they give you a breathalyzer. I mean, if you drank before the night before, you're sober by this point, bro. But don't do it. But I'm just saying, like, it's that long of a day to where I don't even know how you could not pass a breathalyzer at this time. Like, it makes zero sense because you've had a whole day, literally a whole day, that you're there and going through this process. More paperwork to fill out. They have you verify everything, like, on your paper to make sure, like, everything is good. And, like, honestly, double check that paperwork because sometimes there is mistakes. And so you just got to make a line through it, cross it out. They go through all that, right? This part is still, like, low-key easy. Breathalyze you, that's the end of that section. So I was, blessed that they had, for the girls, it wasn't a lot of girls. I think it was like a total of like 30 of us going through Meps that day. So for the girls, they had one person, right? And it was this black chick. She was really nice, really cool. So shout out to her. She was like, look, I'm about to make sure all y'all get through here so we can all get out on time. She single-handedly took us, right, through all the stations, and we got to skip through the lines. Like, I know them dudes were sitting there mad too, like, because there was some people waiting for their eye tests for like hours. Now, mind you, the other piss off about it, right, is like when you go do these tests, they're like 5 minutes. Except for one of them, they're like 5 minutes long. Like, that's it. So you mean to tell me I was sitting here for hours for something that took like 5 minutes? They're understaffed right now because of the pandemic. They don't have a lot of people working, so it's not moving as fast, right? Plus, they have all these things about, only a certain amount of people could be in a certain amount of rooms. Yada, yada, yada. Long story short, in the military, you keep hearing this phrase, hurry up and wait. Meps is the definition of hurry up and wait. You're going to hurry to get someplace, then you're going to wait. You're going to hurry to get someplace, then you're going to wait. Right. So, the lady came and got me and this other chick, and we went to, they took us back to do our urine analysis first. Yes, there's somebody literally looking at you while you do it in a cup. Like, they're looking. There's no privacy at all. So if you had an issue with that, you might as well just go ahead and get over that ahead of time, right? Good thing I'm comfortable in my own skin. Wasn't that big a deal, right? I did what I needed to do. Boom. Then you have to hold your own cup. That was the only, like, I'm a germaphobe. You gotta hold your own cup, and then they test it right there in front of you for like specific things. I think it's like HIV test, like something else test, another test, and then you turn it in, you pour it out, and then you're good on that. Then you gotta go back. From that point, we had to get our blood done, right? So we go get our blood done. Whew, that was a whole nother process. And like some people were freaking out. I'm like, I got my blood drawn before, so it's like whatever, right? If you're afraid of needles, get over that too, because it's going down, and you don't have time to be sitting there and be in your feelings about it. They're just gonna do it. So Then from that point, she realized that we hadn't had our vision yet, so she took us right over to the vision thing, and we skipped the whole line and did our vision test. Then we come back for, I want to get the word right. It's called, where it is, where is it? I'm trying to see. It's called ortho. It's a really long word. I'm trying to see. Ortho something. Okay, the gist of it is this is the longest portion of the physical. It is the longest portion, right? So I'm going to keep it all the way 100, right? All the way 100 with you. Okay, so this portion of it, they have you stripped down to your underwear. So, like I said, ladies, make sure you don't have any nail polish on so you don't have to go through what I went through. Wear the correct bra. It's just a regular two-strap bra and granny panties. Do some womanscaping down there as well, because they will try to make fun of you and like embarrass you or whatever. I don't get embarrassed easy, so that mess don't bother me, right? But so from there, once you strip down or whatever, right? And I could tell there was some people who were uncomfortable, which I feel like, you're in a group full of women. Now, mind you, everybody has their own insecurities and stuff, but just know that everybody's there is in the same boat. Don't nobody want to be there half naked on this cold floor in this concrete room for an hour, half naked. Y'all all on the same page, same boat. But the most important part about this, though, the biggest advice that I can tell you is to focus. I know you're tired. You haven't even eaten lunch at this point, because if you take a break for lunch, you're gonna be there I don't even know, till midnight maybe. You ain't got time for that. Focus, because people were failing this section left and right, and they will have to come back again. And don't nobody want to have to come back to Meps. Nobody whatsoever to do a whole physical and all. Nope. Pay attention. Focus. And then if you are not sure on the exercise that they're telling you, ask the question before they start your testing or whatever. Just be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, and have them demonstrate it again if you're not clear. I think people were afraid to ask a question because they thought they were going to look stupid. It's better for you to look stupid than you to fail it and then have to come back again, right? So first thing they do is they take your height and your weight to make sure you're within a certain range, right? And they tell you, like, off top, if you made your weight or blah blah blah. If you don't, now if you not, then that's low-key a problem. That they're like, look, don't come back within blah blah blah. Here's where you at. You need to be within, because every specific branch has their own height and weight requirements, right? So I was good on that. I was within the height and weight. Then they have you get back in the line, right? And then they start doing these exercises. These exercises are things that you would think is like super duper like simple, right? But they are simple, but it requires balance and like physicality and mental focus. And so I'm going to give you an example of some of the exercises. I wonder somewhere if they have a list of all the exercises that they go through. They start you off with pretty basic things like doing like the flamingo stretch and holding your balance on the left, doing another one on your right. Then they have, foot motion. They have you hold your leg out, and then just like, it's really more so range of motion. Like, are you physically able to do certain things? Like, because in the military, you have to have a full range of your body. And if you don't, then do you need assistance? To what level or certain positions? Can you qualify? Can you not qualify for it, right? And then they have you do a lot of hand stuff, like, and a lot of it has to do with balance. And then they'll have you, just basic things, right? In, out, blah, blah, blah. But listen, because they really will fail you. I mean, people were literally failing this section, like, because they just wasn't listening. They give you another chance to try, and if you fail it again, then that's it. And then here's the sucky part about it. Like, if that was me, if I failed a section of it, I just want you to send me home. Why are you making me go through all of this, knowing that I didn't pass and I'm going to have to come back? They should just be sending people home. Like, go get dressed, send people home. They didn't do that. They make you go through the whole process knowing that you failed it. I'm like, I would be pissed. I would be there hot. Anyway, okay, so those are like the hand stuff, all that pretty much, those are the easier things. The only ways you're not passing that is if you physically can't do it or you're just not paying attention to the directions, right? Then from there, they go to the harder things, which require you to like get on your knees and like hop up in one motion, drop down to your knees. Like, you cannot be afraid that you're gonna hurt yourself. None of that. You gotta just do it, because if you fail it, you fail it, and that's all bad, right? So I was focused as hell. Mind you, I'm sleep deprived. I'm hungry. I dang near got a headache by this time, but I'm like, I was so focused on, I am not freaking coming back. I am not freaking coming back. I refuse. Not for this, at least. If I had to come back, it's going to be for something else. Not for this. So then you make it through. They have like a fast walk, a whole bunch of stuff that you got to do, right? So you're doing these exercises for like an hour. You're literally in there, underwear, no socks on, all y'all in there for like an hour. Then at that point, they have you strip and get even more naked. You get butt naked. They put a gown on you, right? Then you got to go back in there with the doctor, and then they have you do the whole bend over thing. Then look, they check all your innies. That's the best way I could describe it. Your little booty, your little whoop whoop, all that's getting checked. Be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Be comfortable, because it's just getting checked. If you're not comfortable, you might as well get over it, because it's just part of the military process, right? Then after that, you're done with that section. You're able to get dressed, right? After you go get dressed, I got checked out, because like I said, our chick was cool. I also thought it was cool that, all the doctors there were black, which is not like, it's not like, oh, that's like, it had to be that way. It's more so, it's just interesting that I saw that. I haven't met a whole lot of black doctors here on the West Coast, so I thought that was kind of cool. Fun fact, right? And so they checked us out, and they were like, okay, go to your liaison. Unfortunately for me, because I was Coast Guard, there's only like 4 or 5 of them there, my liaison was gone. So usually what happens next is you're supposed to go over your MOS, right? And then you can take the oath, you sign your contract, and you take the oath, and then you're good. I'm a reservist, right? So things are a little bit different than active duty for me. But so there was people who actually, went there, and then they had an even longer wait, because, they were waiting, and it was countless Army people there. It was countless Marine people. It was countless Navy people there. So they had a long wait for their office. It was only 4 of us, so much so that my liaison decided that they was going to dip out and go home. So I called my recruiter, and she was like, okay, just slide the paperwork under the people's office, like, and then we're going to be able to do the next steps, right? So thank goodness for that. Only thing I might have to go back for is I might have to go back for fingerprinting, but that'll just be like in and out. I don't have to be there all day long. But the gist is, by the time I got done, it was like 1:30 or whatever for me. So some people were going to be there till like 4 or 5 o'clock, because they had to have the meetings and meet with the MOS and all those things, and they were able to get lunch. I could have got lunch, but I was just like, you know what? The way traffic is set up, I'm going to go ahead and get on this freeway. I'm going to get home. Talk to my recruiter afterwards. And so the next steps for me is that she's submitting me for my position. So, send some prayers up that I get my position for public affairs. Whoop, whoop. Then from there, my basic training date will decide that. Obviously, I have to take the oath, sign the contract, all that. But, and so hopefully I get the date that I want for basic training, and everything works out so that I'll be there during winter break. And then we go from there. Like, I'm very excited though. It was intense, but it wasn't, I know it's not as intense as what basic training is going to be, but it was only intense because there was parts of it where it's like, if you didn't get it, you wasted your time. Pretty much the whole day being there, you wasted your time, and that's the last thing I wanted, was to waste my time and have to come back again. So the best thing I could tell you, best tip of advice, right, for Meps is get a good night's sleep. Bring you a snack and stuff to eat if you're a picky eater. If not, eat that full breakfast that they give you, right? Listen. Freaking listen, man. Do not get sent home because you're not listening. Like, that is the last thing you want to do. Like, be patient with the process. And from there, and take it all in. I was taking it all in the sense of I was like, whoa, this is different. This is very different. So I'm excited to see what the next step is. Be sure to check out the playlist that I have on the channel that I'm gonna be, vlogging all of my military experiences here on the channel. Like I said, now I gotta do whole hours of reaction videos, but like, dude, like, all I gotta say is keep in touch. I'm still decompressing from Meps. I really am. Not even gonna lie. Cash App, Venmo at TheRealScribe, PayPal, TheRealScribeCash at gmail.com, Patreon.com/ScribeCash. Love you guys. I'll see you next time.